Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Honeybee Adventures. In previous episodes, we learned about pollination and why we need honeybees to pollinate plants. We also learned that honeybees collect their food from plants. Do you remember what honeybees eat? They eat pollen and nectar. But there are 3 types of honeybees within a hive. Which ones eat pollen? And which ones eat nectar? Let's go find out. Let's start with the worker bees. These bees do almost everything in the hive. And they have different tasks based on what age they are. When they are young worker bees, they clean the hive, they make honey, they feed the queen and baby bees, also called larvae, and do so many other tasks. As they age, they are taught how to forage for pollen and nectar. The oldest worker bees are the ones you see flying around the flowers collecting pollen and nectar. Now, in the last episode, we learned about nectar and how it is a sweet liquid substance that contains many nutrients that keep bees healthy. But let's dig a little deeper into nectar and why honeybees eat it. Our bodies need energy in order to function. When we are hungry, our body is telling us that it is running out of energy and that we need to add more fuel. The honeybee is the same. Their bodies need energy to survive too. Our bodies need 3 types of fuel: carbohydrates, lipids, and amino acids. We get our fuel from plants and animals. Honeybees are similar to us. They also need these 3 types of fuel, which they get from nectar and pollen. But the amount they need depends on their age. Adult bees, which are the worker bees, the drones, and the queen bee, need more carbohydrates than baby bees. This is why they eat nectar. Nectar is mostly made up of carbohydrates and only has small amounts of amino acids and lipids. But the foraging worker bees don't eat the pollen. So who does? Pollen is a protein-rich food that is mostly eaten by the nurse worker bees. The nurse worker bees are the ones responsible for feeding the baby bees, or the baby larvae. These nurse bees use the protein in the pollen to create a baby food called royal jelly. Royal jelly! Royal jelly! All baby bees eat royal jelly for the first 3 days of their life. After day 3, the food they get depends on what type of bee they will become. Baby worker bees and baby drones get royal jelly for the first 3 days of life. Then they are fed bee bread. We will talk more about bee bread in the next episode, but for now, just know that this food is full of pollen. Baby queen bees are fed royal jelly throughout their entire time as larvae. But now I have a question. How do the foraging bees bring nectar and pollen back to the hive? The worker bee eats some of the nectar that it gathers. Once its stomach is full, the honeybee then collects nectar in a second stomach, called the crop, or honey stomach. This second stomach is like an internal storage container.
Whoa, that's like so cool, dude. Right on, dude. Yeah, man.
When the honeybees are on the flower slurping up the nectar, pollen collects on their bodies in what's called pollen baskets. There's one on each leg. And then the pollen in these baskets is carried from one plant to another, and eventually back to the hive. But once pollen and nectar are brought back to the hive, what happens to them? And what about honey? Do honeybees eat honey? Find out next time on the Honeybee Adventures. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and click subscribe so that you won't miss out on any more upcoming adventures. See you next time!